Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. One thing that I gotta agree on with Brock TV is about Elizabeth and Scott. When Scott was like, can you please stop talking about murder and homicides and all sorts of, illegal activities, just out in the open where everyone could just sit there and walk past. I remember watching that, and I was like, thank you, Scott. And I watched a little bit of Brock TV. And, I was like, well, that is one thing we gotta agree on. Before I start with Liz, because that was actually the entertaining part. Liz and Finn and Anna was the entertaining part. We gotta start my least favorite character. At this point, we all know who my least favorite character is. The woman that said at the end, my family is my business. Oh my goodness. I knew this episode was gonna be like this. I would have got something much stronger. Maybe I should go to a wine store tomorrow. Just have a bottle of wine or something stronger. Because I have a feeling that since Stella doesn't know how to mind her goddamn business for one moment. Yeah. The sad thing is, in this whole scene between Jordan and Stella, is that Stella's like, you need to fight for your marriage. You need to sit there and do this. I didn't know that my nephew didn't mean that much to you. She doesn't even realize the pain in her face, the pain in her eyes. She doesn't realize this. She's too busy sitting there, quote unquote, talking about tough love. And tough love is a necessary element. Except for when no one asks you to throw your opinion and start throwing your weight around in a marriage that has nothing to do with you. We don't care that he is your nephew. No one cares. We stopped caring a long time ago. A good majority of... This woman... Ooh, wow. So she's just going on and on and on. Now, at one point, she's all like, well, I'm going to sit there and talk to Portia, and I'm going to talk to Curtis. Why? What part of... When they were when Curtis was like, stop getting in my damn business, did she... Oh, I forgot. I must be slow. My family is my... I cannot believe that woman said that. I think the only time I've actually been nearly this mad was during my first review that I don't think that anyone should watch, because I drop F-bombs like there is no tomorrow. This is my first video. No notes, no nothing. I just went off. Yeah. After Jordan leaves, because she signs the papers, signs the divorce papers, puts it in the outgoing mail, she leaves. Tell me why this dingbat decides to look up at the sky and says, Lord, please forgive me. That's like Snitcher saying, I'm going to shoot someone, but I want you to forgive me before I do it. And she decides to just take the divorce papers and put it in her purse. Because that made sense to her. Wow. Now, before I go on, I think Beauty, because I always get the names wrong sometimes, but a couple of people in the comment section was there telling me to check out this other guy who does reviews on GH, talking about the big blooper, or the big F-up, whatever you want to sit there and call it. I think her name is This Chemical Beauty, and a couple other people was they're telling me to check out this guy called Den on the Corner, or D on the Corner, I think, something. Told me to check out this review, and I watched it, and granted, first of all, this guy is great, and I really apologize for messing up his name, but the point is that Curtis, Sean, Laura, and Sam all know about who shot or who was responsible for shooting Hayden. And they just said, nah, screw that. Let's just pretend that everyone's either a moron or let's just do some voodoo and just, wipe everyone's minds from that storyline. And like he said, this isn't like something that was like 20 years ago. This was something that was like a few years ago when he actually had Christopher Tyler as Nicholas. So I don't understand. And granted, I can understand why he is furious about how they're just acting like they don't know who shot or who's responsible for shooting Nicholas. I can understand why some people are, feel like they're, being played, like they're an idiot and they just didn't know what's going on. And granted, that does lead into today's episode. You got Sean talking to Curtis, asking him what's going on. Do you know where you can find Hayden? Or did y'all get any closer to find out who shot Hayden? He's all like, oh, I don't know. And granted, when I watched it this morning, I was like, oh my goodness. This man literally just said he didn't know. Like, he just forgot. I'm wondering, what was the purpose behind this? Because I can't believe that this was an accident. Okay, I cannot sit there and believe that the writers just forgot. So I'm wondering what's the purpose of this. I really want to know. Anyway, they talk about that. They talk about Curtis, possibly being a partner for him in his new venture, and after a while, Sean was like, I'm in. But he still wants to sit there and find out who shot Hayden. Also talked about TJ and the whole, him being there for TJ and not letting what went on between Thomas, mess up their friendship. So that was cool. Talk about Carly, Jocelyn, and Spencer that just walks in out of nowhere. So Jocelyn's big thing is she's going to sit there and tell Mother about her dating Cam. But when Spencer starts talking, he just kind of blurts it out. Now, at first, I was just like, okay. It just felt, I didn't want to sit there and call him a dick because he really didn't know. But then Jocelyn pushes him in the pool again. And Carly's like, are you nuts? Can you stop doing that? Because if he hits his head, Nicholas is going to sue me. And Jocelyn's like, oh, yeah, no, it's fine, but, he is still a jerk or whatever. I'll stop pushing him in the pool. I'm like, I don't know if that's some sort of vapid answer or whatever happens to the lawsuit, it's not going to affect me, but it just kind of came across as some sort of vapid answer, like, oh, yeah, sure, whatever, I'll stop pushing him in the pool. Like, if your mother's snitch saying stop doing it because, one, it's dangerous, it's a safety hazard, and if he hits his head or if he gets hurt, he can sue me. And she just act like it just wasn't a big deal. And she got upset with Spencer for, spoiling the surprise or whatever. But I'm sitting there thinking, it really wasn't that serious. Okay, so Spencer accidentally told your mother about you dating Cam. So? I mean, you was going to sit there and tell her anyway. What's the difference? I felt like that was such a petty thing to sit there and get that angry about him. Angry at him over. Anyway, they talk about that. They talk about Jason. Spencer talks about Jason and they're saying congratulations and you two are going to be happy and a good couple. And I'm just like, and this is just a me thing. It's just a me thing. Because every time somebody talks about their marriage and how they're happy for Jason and Carly and stuff like that, and you know, Sonny will be really happy too, and he will give you his blessing. It's like, really? So we're just gonna ignore the fact that Jason is moving in on his best friend's wife, and it's just, it's cool. I'm glad you're happy. You're finding, you know, happiness in each other. Like, that just bothers me. That really bothers me. And I've said this, so I sound like a broken record, but it's the same thing on This Is Us. Just certain lines you just don't cross. That's just my personal opinion. And so every time somebody talks about that, it's just like, really? Like, you're cool with this? This makes sense to you? Alright, sure, whatever. Plot, sure. Trina and Jocelyn talk for a little bit, and they talk with Spencer, and, you know, Trina's all upset because, you know, she had a plan to try to get Ava and Nicholas back together through some sort of parent trap. Like, that was really gonna sit there and work, but sure, whatever. And she's all upset about Spencer because, you know, he kind of forwarded, and, you know, Spencer didn't really say much of anything. He was like, yeah, I did it, pretty much. Your plan wouldn't have worked anyway. And he gets so upset and he just walks off. That was pretty much about it, more or less. Trina was not there talking to Portia about, well, Portia taking her very sweet time, like she was really nervous, but yet she was all like, I don't need your permission, but I want to know how you feel. So she's not there talking about Curtis and the fact that they're seeing each other. And, you know, Trina was like, you know, listen, I'm not surprised by it. You know, I did see the signs, and she's like, I think she was more thrown off by the fact that Portia was not there telling Trina about her dating life, not so much about, well, Curtis, because she had dated other people before, so it wasn't really that. It was just awkward that they listened to your parent probably talk about their dating life. Other than that, she was like, alright, fine, whatever, you know, but she was more concerned about Jordan. She was like, you know, y'all two are friends. How is she going to take this? Yeah, Portia, how is she going to take this? I mean, what time in the morning is it that you felt you couldn't sit there and talk to Jordan about this, or about this kiss or anything like that, but whatever, it's nor here or there. And to be fair, just to be a little bit fair, it's not like there's much room that Jordan could sit there and really talk. I mean, and in a very similar way, you could sit there and look at this with Jordan, Curtis, and, the hell is her name? The other I cannot remember her name. Valerie. You know, I actually had to sit there and look on Wikipedia just to find her out, because she's been such a non-factor for so long that I was like, Spencer. Who else is a Spencer? Damn it. I literally had to go on Wikipedia, but yeah. She sort of did the same thing with, you can look at it as she did the sort of thing with, Valerie. Valerie kind of called her out for it, like, yo, listen, you kept telling me not to sit there and see Curtis, and now y'all two are a thing. You're just waiting, right? Cool. Alright, I'm glad we straightened that out. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm really happy for the actress that she's doing big things on, I think, Y&R, so, because she became totally useless in GH after a while, but, you know, GH is, I'm not even going to go there with that. Yeah. Scotty and Liz. Okay, let's talk about Scotty and Liz. So after she was there just blabbing out all her info to like the entire staff of GH, and you know, Scotty had to sit there and pull in the office like, yo, you can't be talking about that stuff around here. What's wrong with you? Liz does this double talk where she's like, well, I don't need help from me, but from my friend about, you know, homicidal or justification. What did she call it? Justified murder or something like that? Justified manslaughter or something? And honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm not going to lie. She talks in double talk for a while. And Scott kind of picks up on the fact that she's not talking about herself, she's talking about Finn. Now, at the end of this, you know, she's like, oh, well, no, I wasn't involved. And Scott's like, You know about it, right? Well, then you're involved. So, you're an accessory. As in, you can go to jail. Just, and I say that because it was her idea. She's the one that decided to tell Finn, hey, let's cover it up because you need to be there for your daughter. And you need to sit there and save Chase's life. And I was thinking about this today, and I don't sit there and doubt where her attention was coming from, but it was an asinine idea. Point blank simple. And so, you know, Scotty kind of picks up on it and figures out who it is. More or less, just telling her the implications of what could happen or something like that. I'm not gonna lie, she was doing some of this double talk that after a while I just got kind of bored. And I was just sitting there thinking, you know what, listen, whatever you want to sit there and call it, they're gonna sit there and look at it as neither manslaughter or at the very least involuntary manslaughter, because that's what they got Michael on. Which last time I checked in their world, I don't know if this applies to the real world, Alicia, if you could sit there and help me out, that would be really grateful. It'd be really great, because I remember you sitting there saying that you doing law, but I'm pretty sure that it carries a minimum sentence of 5 years. That's just, I'm guessing. But yes, Alicia, if you can confirm that, or kind of give me an estimate, that would really help. And I hope I'm saying your name right. But yeah, so I don't know what she's meant to talking about, but at the end of the day, it just looks like involuntary manslaughter. Now, Finn and Anna, I gotta sit there and tell you that they were talking and talking about opening up this crate, and finally they opened up the crate. I mean, before then, it was just, I felt like they weren't really talking about anything too important. I mean, it was just Anna Smith saying that Peter was like Phazon, and I was probably going to have to sit there and find his body, you know, identify his body sooner or later, or I would probably wind up killing him. And I'm just sitting there thinking, you know, I wouldn't actually fully blame her for being just a teensy bitchy tiny sad, because at the end of the day, yeah, that's not her son, and she might have loved him at one point like a son, but at the very least, that is her nephew, you know? And if she had, you know, hesitation about killing her own sister, I mean, really? Anyway, they talk for a good couple of minutes, and finally, they open up the crate. It's not there. Now, Jason was sitting there in the hospital, trying to work on something, trying to call Spinelli to sit there and try to find out some information or whatever. And Liz and Jason wound up meeting up, because, you know, Liz is sitting there calling, I guess, Jason or whatever. And Jason was like, yeah, pretty much he went down there, and there was no body. There was no body there. And even Anna was like, are you sure he was dead? She asked him that before, and I'm pretty sure she might have asked him that in previews. But, yeah, Jason went down there, and there's no body. So now, Liz is so screwed. The look on her face was priceless, and I'm not sitting there trying to relish in it or anything like that, but I was like, sweetheart, this was your idea. And Finn, you went along with it. So, to be honest, I'm not having much sympathy for either of y'all. Your hearts might have been in the right place, but it was so much of a better way to sit there and handle it than you listening to her, which, by the way, I still feel like was out of character, but whatever. Carly talks to Sean, asks him to work for her, but, you know, either in the business or the hotel or whatever. But Sean's like, nah, I'm good where I'm at as far as talking, you know, working with Curtis. So much for that. And seriously, why the hell would he actually want to sit there and work for y'all? Like, seriously, why would he want to work for you or Jason? I mean, didn't this man spend 5 years or however long in jail for copping to a crime that he didn't commit so that way he could protect Sonny? And Carly's just like, hey, you want to sit there and work for me again? Really? Now, I get it, they're all friendly and cordial and stuff like that, and granted, he decided to do it to one, he's not a snitch, and two, it's about, you know, with him with penance and stuff like that, but just in general. Really, bro? I mean, really, Carly? Really? Yeah, no. I think he should take a hard pass at that. I really do, but, we'll see. Oh, did I mention that Stella's a pain in the ass? Yeah, Stella's a pain in the ass. I just wanted to throw that out there in case anyone forgot. With that being said, I'm gonna go. You know, as always, I'm usually feel like I'm gonna miss something. So if I did, write it down in the comment section below. Also, if anyone else knows about that whole 5-year, like, you know, involuntary manslaughter thing, please let me know. And yes, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Be safe. See you in the next video.